right, okay. So I've kept a track of every day's weirdest transfer in June. So, right, pretty simple then. Let's take a look at the strangest transfer in world football every day of July. Right, let's go. Oh, and by the way, lads, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, you absolute legends! That's pretty much it. Back into the video. First, Marcus Thuram to Inter Milan. I'm sorry, but this transfer looks weird in my eyes. I thought Marcus Thuram's hype had crawled into a hole in the bathroom wall and was just rotting away next to some stale cheese crumbs and the previous tenant's finger. All the fuss about Marcus was pre-lockdown, scoring goals against Real Madrid in the Champions League for Borussia Mönchengladbach. But ever since he decided to spit in someone's face, the football world decided to move on and instead look at Lilian Thuram's other son. A bit like, despite how many energy drinks he promotes that taste like Peter Pan's wee, Logan Paul is still now in the shadow of his little bro. But to be fair, Thuram did bag 16 goals for Mönchengladbach last season and has now joined Inter Milan on a free, which isn't that weird considering he used to live in Italy due to his superstar dad's career. Although Marcus is a self-confessed AC Milan fan, so joining their deadly arch rivals, it's a bit like when Mario Balotelli joined Inter Milan as a child, despite someone who's probably this close getting a tattoo of Maldini on his thigh. I don't know, this transfer is just a little bit strange. Second, Jota at Al-Ittihad. It's always weird when a talented 24-year-old baller quits European football for Saudi before he's even grown hair on his armpits. But yeah, here we've got Benfica reject Jota, who has become a 15-goal-a-season winger superstar at Celtic. Although to be fair, that's not saying much because so was Scott Sinclair, and we all know that he was about as exciting as eating snail juice in your tea. But lads, Al-Ittihad have already targeted Champions League all-time greats like Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante. I didn't think anyone who makes decisions in Saudi would even tune into the Scottish leagues. I didn't think anybody knew who Jota was. I mean, Diogo Jota maybe, but not somebody who regularly destroys teams like Partick Thistle and Hibs. This guy is now earning £192,000 a week. He's earning more than a worldwide superstar like Son Heung-min. Yes, he is a world star. I'm sorry, but put Jota in the middle of South Korea and everyone would assume he's just there to sell potatoes from a van. Third, Marcelo Brozovic to Al-Nassr. What's weird about the Saudi Pro League is how quickly these deals get done. Christ, well, it seems like everybody in Europe was being bored to actual tears listening to all the potential clubs wanted to buy Marcelo Brozovic or Sergej Milinkovic-Savic from Serie A every single summer. Yeah, well, within about 48 hours, Saudi clubs got both these deals done. 30-year-old Croatian defensive midfielder Brozovic has just walked out on Champions League finalist Inter Milan to join Al-Nassr for 18 million euros, where he is going to earn 24 million a year. That is about £395,000 every single week. For someone who, yes, is a quality midfielder, but nearly 400k a week. Fourth, Brereton Diaz to Villarreal. So Brereton Diaz has finally quit Blackburn Rovers on a free after being linked with the Premier League over and over and over again. Honestly, at this stage, I was just sick of reading about which clubs wanted Diaz. To me, reading those transfer rumors was a bit like reading a poetry book written by a stuffy nerd, but Diaz has always confused me. Don't get me wrong, 20-goal-a-season star striker in the Championship, but I mean, was he going to have the sort of career that his Latin name would suggest, or was he just continue to have the most British Northwestern career? I mean, yes, he has got that South American name, but he was born in Stoke, spent 7 years at Manchester United, 2 years at Stoke City, 4 years at Nottingham Forest, and that's 5 years of Blackburn Rovers. I mean, he also represented England under 19s and England under 20s. I thought he was another Jay Rodriguez. Someone who, yes, sounds like he belongs on a beach in Malaga, having 3 siestas a day, but in reality, Burnley born and bred, and so carved out the same British career path as Charlie Austin. Although, do you know what's weird? Rodriguez's only England cap was against Chile, the team Diaz plays for. It's like a coincidence you'd find on season 1 of Lost. But yeah, Diaz, he plays for Chile and has now just joined Villarreal on a free to play in Spain for the first time in his entire career. So I guess that's it. Despite having such a thick British accent from the northwest of England, despite sounding like someone who probably lives on fish fingers and sausage rolls from Greg's, he's actually now a La Liga star. Fifth, Inigo Martinez to Barcelona. Okay, what is this? Here we have Inigo Martinez, a 32-year-old centre-back who's been playing in the Basque country for his entire career. He joined Real Sociedad in 2006, left for Athletic Bilbao in 2018 for 32 million euros, replacing Aymeric Laporte in the squad, and had been there ever since. And now he's just joined Barca on a free. You know what would have made more sense, Barcelona? To sign the guy who he'd replaced at Bilbao. Laporte is so desperate for a transfer that he's even now being linked to the move to Crystal Palace. Is that a joke? Offering a top-class superstar defender the chance to spend his late 20s feeding Roy Hodgson soup on a spoon? Barcelona should go get him. But Martinez, it's so very Sixth, Angel Di Maria to Benfica. You know what? Fair play, Angel. You cannot convince me that Angel Di Maria will not have had a mind-bogglingly stupid money offer from the Saudi Pro League this summer. The guy just has that division written all over his Dobby-esque face. So instead, he turned that down and chose to swap Juventus for Benfica instead. You know, the Portuguese team who gave him his first big break in European football and prepared him for that life-changing move to Madrid. How many world champions who played for European monsters like Real Madrid, Man United, PSG and Juventus? People with over 130 caps for Argentina. Someone who's literally just scored in the World Cup final. How many of them choose to turn their back on money to take a romantic, low-paid return to a former club? Honestly, fair play, Di Maria. 7th, Marco Asensio to PSG. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming either. Here we have Marco Asensio. Asensio is actually his middle name. If he was known by his surname like everybody else, then his name would be Marco Williamson. Pretty sure that would cause excited Sweden fans to start scouring through his family history on the internet. I mean, it'd be a massive upgrade on Tony Elanga. But yeah, after 9 years at Real Madrid, to finally cut to a 27 on a free to PSG, bit weird. 8th, Lee Kang-in to PSG. Remember when PSG used to sign nothing but absolute world stars? Here they've tied up a €22 million deal for a 22-year-old South Korean winger Lee Kang-in, dragging him in from Real Mallorca. I mean, look, there are things on his side. Last season, he had the 6th highest number of successful dribbles in the top 5 European leagues. And also, when he was 19, he was the youngest player to assist 2 goals in a La Liga match in the 21st century, breaking Juan Mata's record from 2008. And he's also the youngest ever Korean to debut in the Champions League, playing for Valencia against Chelsea when he was 18. That is all great, yes. But PSG are supposed to be the superficial elitist club who only care about image. So choosing to buy a 22-year-old winger with just 13 career goals instead of the traditional route of, I don't know, offering to buy Mo Salah a house. On paper it looks sensible, but it also reminds me of when they signed Hatem Ben Arfa. Lee Kang-in might have excellent levels of dribbling, but nobody can tell me that they were on par with Ben Arfa's. And yet the PSG hierarchy just let him rot in the background like an empty pizza box. 9th, Brendan Aronson to Union Berlin. This is so strange. Brendan Aronson was one of the latest stars of the Red Bull franchise, absolutely ripping it up in Austria for Salzburg. Then Aronson moved to the Premier League via Leeds before the World Cup with America. Surely he was going to now cement himself as an elite Premier League baller. Now, instead he gets dropped, they get relegated, and now he gets a weird random loan to Union Berlin. I mean, they just finished 4th in the Bundesliga, so this is a good move. But Leeds fans will feel a bit confused because did anybody think his performances last year merited a job promotion from the Championship to the Champions League? 10th, Baba Rahman to PAOK. Next on, it's finally over. Baba Rahman has actually quit Chelsea after 8 years, moving to PAOK in Greece. I thought he'd never leave. 11th, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic to Al-Hilal. It's weird. It's so strange. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic has been a midfield superstar at Lazio for 8 long years and has been linked with the move to the Premier League so many times. Manchester United have had long-standing unhealthy obsessions with central midfielders for years. Cries up, they used to chat about Wesley Sneijder so much, the Dutchman probably still thinks he's being stalked by Fergie whenever he goes shopping for broccoli. Kevin Strootman was also another one always linked with Old Trafford, as was Milinkovic-Savic. It's just I think they accidentally signed the wrong brother in 2014. I didn't think that when Sergio would eventually quit Lazio, it would be at 28 with a move to Al-Hilal, where he's earning £326,000 a week. It's just absolutely nutty money. 12th, Pau Torres to Aston Villa. I've already spoken about this one a lot, but lads, 18 months ago, Pau Torres was a superstar Villarreal centre half, being linked with both Manchester clubs. To see him now at Aston Villa, I'm getting the same vibe I got last summer when they bought Brazil star centre back Diego Carlos from Sevilla. Again, a fella coveted by the best clubs in the world, so snapping up Torres for £35 million. Unai Emery and Munchie, take a bow. 13th, Ashley Young to Everton. Nobody remembers this, but Ashley Young had the game of his life at Goodison Park. Back in 2008, he scored 2 goals for Aston Villa in a crazy 3-2 win at Everton, and Jolie Lescott, a future Villa defender, he had scored 2 for the Toffees, including a last-minute equaliser, before Young scored an even later winner, prompting Martin O'Neill to compare him to both Ronaldo and Messi. One of the craziest ever Premier League games. To think that both players who scored a brace would both eventually sort of swap clubs before their careers were done, I don't know, it just looks weird. 14th, Rasmus Christensen to Roma. What is Jose Mourinho's obsession with defenders from Leeds? Not only does he have Diego Llorente on loan from Ellen Road, but now he's just snapped up Rasmus Christensen too, again on a loan deal. The 26-year-old Denmark right back only joined Leeds for 10 million last summer, so clearly he thinks he's too good for the Championship. Although again, talk about landing on your feet. In the space of a few weeks, he's gone from listening to sweaty team talks from Sam Allardyce, who probably punctuated every sentence with a big bite of a sloppy cheeseburger, to now gaining actual valuable insight invite from the actual Jose Mourinho? Wow. 15th, Aaron Ramsey to Cardiff City. Aaron Ramsey has had such a nightmare since leaving Arsenal in 2019. I remember when the Gunners fans were literally begging their owner to just pay him the cash to stay. But since then, he's been a failure at Juventus, Rangers, Nice, and now at 32, joining a Cardiff team who were nearly relegated to League One. Cardiff are a bit like Marseille. They always seem to drag back the big names who left. I mean, that's how Cardiff were able to sign Craig Bellamy when he was only 31. And after living in Italy, France, and Scotland, Ramsey is probably sick of dragging his family across Europe and just wants to have a nice quiet life, drinking milk and walking his dog. But in terms of career ambition, oh dear. Oh, and by the way, quick interruption to ask you to subscribe, you incredible people, but also, this video is sponsored by Manscaped. Lads, everybody hates nose hairs. Everyone. Even your own cat is probably judging you for having a forest growing out of your nose. But don't worry, because Manscaped are here to help you with the Weed Whacker 2.0 in the Performance Package 4.0. Go to manscaped.com, use the code FOOTY to get 20% off and free shipping. But lads, in the Performance Package 4.0, you will find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, and a travel bag. The Lawnmower 4.0, again, no, not used to eat daffodils. It has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on and off switch, and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off. Although, please, don't shave in the dark. You suddenly look like a joker. Also, the trimmer is waterproof. Although, again, don't cut your hair in the sea. You'll freak out the fish. Finding Nemo will be traumatized. Anyway, Manscaped are giving everyone who watches this video 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code irishguy20. So go now. Back into the video. 16th, Lionel Messi to Inter Miami. Surely this qualifies for the list. Lionel Messi is the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or, and it will be beyond odd if he lives an 8th one whilst playing in the MLS. This man was the best player at the last World Cup, and yet he's now teaming up with DeAndre Yedlin and Phil Neville's son. On paper, I suppose it makes sense. I mean, he's 36 years old, it's a quieter life in America. Even with his levels of fame, he could probably, for the first time since 2004, actually be able to walk down the street without being bothered for a selfie. He can actually push his children on the swings without delirious fanboys trying to kiss his shoes. But still, I did think he quit PSG for a return to Barcelona, so didn't see this one coming. 17th, Etienne Camara to Udinese. We all know what this is. We can all see what's going to happen, surely. Etienne Camara, a 20-year-old Huddersfield Town midfield superstar who's highly rated and plays for France under 20s. Yes, technically I suppose he just quit the Terriers for Udinese because, as Neil Warnock said, he just wants the challenge of playing in Italy. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. This reminds me when Udinese wanted to play Matty Longstaff from Newcastle 3 years ago. Yeah, did anyone really think that the scruffy ginger hobbit would really be seen playing on Sunday afternoons against Juventus and AC Milan? He was clearly just going to be sent on loan to their sister club Watford, and I can guarantee you that's exactly what's going to happen with Camara too. And if Neil Warnock doesn't see that coming, then maybe he does belong in a nursing home. 18th, Johnny Evans to Man United. Strange. Johnny Evans. Actual Johnny Evans. The man who was just relegated to the Championship with Leicester City after a nightmare few years where he was denied a move to Man City, got relegated with West Brom while stealing a taxi with his mates, and now another relegation whilst on £100,000 a week. It's pretty embarrassing for a man with over 100 international caps, and now to be re-signed by Man United at 35. I don't care if it is just a contract to play with the children until he's fit. This screams of when they signed his old academy buddy Paul McShane 2 years ago. It was weird then and it's weird now. Why do they have this obsession with signing ex-academy defenders from 20 years ago? Before you know, we'll be seeing Eric Ten Hag giving shirt numbers to Ryan Shawcross and Wes Brown. 19th, Oriol Romeu to Barcelona. If Joselu did not exist, then this would be a strong contender for the weirdest transfer of the entire summer, because I dare any of you to have predicted this transfer happening a month ago. Oriol Romeu, a 31-year-old defensive midfielder who had been on Southampton's books for 7 years. He was so largely forgettable, most people probably assumed he was part of the hideous relegation. Well, no, actually, this ex-Chelsea benchwarmer was actually moved on to Girona last summer, one of Man City's feeder clubs, and he was replaced by Romeo Lavia, bought from the City Academy. I mean, if it wasn't for Romeo, probably would have been Lavia loaned to Girona. And yet now, Romeo has earned a move back to Barcelona, where, to be fair, he spent 7 years of his life. He was a decent player for Barca B, but so? I mean, you wouldn't see Pep Guardiola signing up his old mate from Man City, would you? I think there'd be riots in the street. But so Barca offering a 3-year deal for a Spanish pumpkin like Romeo. How good must he have played for Girona last season? Was it like watching a bald Busquets? Because this glow-up is spectacular. 20th, Juan Cuadrado with Inter Milan. I don't even know why I'm surprised. Signing really old ex-Premier League players is Inter Milan's specialty. Juan Cuadrado is just following in the footsteps of Ashley Young, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Edin Dzeko, Matteo Darmian, Alexander Kolarov, Alexis Sanchez, Christian Eriksen, Romelu Lukaku, Victor Moses, Cedric Suarez. And that's only inside the last 5 years. So yeah, this Chelsea flop, who's just spent 8 years at Juventus, it is a bit surprising still to see him at age 35 and having played 115 times for Colombia, to see his weary legs being dragged to the Champions League finalists. It is a little strange, but kind of fitting too. 21st, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to Marseille. You know how I praised Di Maria for not taking the Saudi cash? Similarly, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he had the Saudi Pro League written all over his face, but I think we've been unfairly typecasting and assuming that this man loves cash over elite football. Because people were tipping this guy for a move to the Chinese Super League within 5 minutes of his Arsenal debut. But to be fair, in his early 30s, when most aging superstars let themselves go and just move to retirement leagues, he's instead moved from Arsenal to Barcelona to Chelsea. That's what Cesc Fabregas is doing in his mid-20s. Aubameyang has ambition. He has turned his back on stupid Saudi money to return to France and Marseille. Anyway, he's actually linking up with Alexis Sanchez, you know, the Arsenal talisman who he replaced at the Emirates. So to see them now working together, it's gonna be like watching Batman and the Joker playing Pictionary. 22nd, Samuel Umtiti to Lille. I'll be honest, I had forgotten Samuel Umtiti ever existed. It's mental. He's still only 29. And after wasting the last 5 years of his life at Barcelona, he did well on loan at Lecce in Serie A last season. And now the French beefcake centre back has finally escaped the shackles at the new camp to now replace Jose Fonte at Lille. It's a good move, but didn't see it coming. 23rd, Wilfried Zaha to Galatasaray. This transfer depresses me. I love Wilfried Zaha. I want to see Zaha playing for a top Champions League club, but he's just moved to Turkey instead. Lads, we know how desperate he is to play in this competition, but when do teams from Turkey ever climb their way out of the group? He was offered £200,000 a week to stay in the Premier League with Palace, and apparently he had a £350,000 a week offer to go and play in Saudi, and yet has instead settled for mediocre wages of £72,000 a week. He has taken a pay cut of 50%, although he has pocketed an immediate £2 million signing on bonus. But still, I mean, I guess he likes the attention from nutty Turkish fans. But I'm sorry, Lazio were interested in Zaha. You'd have had just as much crazy fanfare from those Italian supporters going there. You could have tested yourself in Serie A, playing under a slick style of football from Maurizio Sarri that would have suited you to a T. But no, by going to Istanbul. I mean, that's what Nathan Redmond did last year, before putting him in the shop window for a move to Burnley. This just looks like an easy life. Lazio are in the Champions League too, and they have a much better chance at winning a couple of games. Going to Gala makes utterly no sense. It was like when Galatasaray signed a washed up Harry Kewell. I thought Zaha was better than this. 24th, Ismaila Sarr to Marseille. So this is where all of the Ismaila Sarr monster hype has led him. Back to France with Marseille. When he was ripping Arsenal to shreds on the left wing for rent 4 years ago, he was linked to every top club in the world. Signing for Watford was a massive coup. Then he scores twice in that famous win over title-winning Liverpool just days before lockdown, and surely he was going to get a huge summer move. But now, I mean, he was stuck in the Championship last season, and now just a low-key permanent switch back to France? It just feels like a waste of time. 25th, Raul Jimenez to Fulham. This is a joke. What are Fulham doing? Listen, Raul Jimenez was an absolutely beastly centre forward before the head injury. He was verging on world class. He scored 44 goals across 2 seasons for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He'd have been a perfect buy for Manchester United, but since his head knock, he's now a 5-goal-a-season striker. Fulham are signing him for just £5.5 million. That shows me that Wolves now value this 32-year-old as nothing more than an over-the-hill lump of melted chocolate. This guy now belongs in the Turkish league. He has no business being given a Premier League job. Oh, Fulham, what have you done? Imagine going back to 2019 and forecasting that yes, Jimenez would eventually leave Wolves, but not for Real Madrid or Barcelona, but for Fulham. What a weird transfer. 26th, Isco to Real Betis. So, Manuel Pellegrini has finally been reunited with Francisco Suarez, otherwise known as Isco. Lads, I thought the Pellegrini-Isco romance was done. And when they had worked together at Malaga, Pellegrini kept flirting with the idea of signing him for Man City. I mean, Samir Nasri must be reading those transfer rumors every week and felt about as insecure as Tiger Woods' wife. But now, at 31 years old, and after a disaster 6 months at Sevilla, where he was sacked at Christmas, saw a move to Union Berlin collapse, and has basically just sat on the couch eating chicken nuggets ever since, he's just joined Real Betis on a free. 27th, Jordan Henderson to Al-Ettifaq. I've already spoken about this in a long video. It's a weird transfer. £700,000 a week for Jordan Henderson. What? 28th, Wesley Moraes to Stoke. So, Wesley Moraes' time at Aston Villa is officially done. In my head, for a while there, this guy was on a par with Joe Linton, because back in 2019, both men were huge beefcake Brazilian centre forwards who just wrapped up big money moves to bottom up Premier League clubs, Aston Villa and Newcastle. But Wesley actually looked the better player. He'd already played up front for Brazil, and he started well in the Premier League too, scoring against Everton, Arsenal, banged in 2 against Norwich. But then Ben Mee snapped his cruise shit on New Year's Day, and he hasn't been the same since, and now Villa have officially officially given up on him. While Joelinton is now a Champions League midfielder and playing for Brazil. Wesley just being dumped to Stoke on a free. 29th, Edison Cavani to Boca Juniors. Remember when Edison Cavani scored 17 goals in his debut season for Manchester United? Yeah, that was just over 2 years ago. Now, for some reason, at 36, this supposed evergreen goal machine has now failed at Valencia, and after 17 seasons in European football, has just gone aside for Boca Juniors in Argentina on a free. Bit strange. 30th, Karim Rekik to Al Jazeera. NA Man City fan, remember this academy baller you had on your books for 4 years? Yeah, 26th, this former Dutch international has just quit Sevilla for Al Jazeera for just £1 million. 31st, Alan Saint-Maximin to Al Ali. Absolute disgrace! Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below what do you think. Alright, let me know in the comments what has been the weirdest transfers of July. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give a like, subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.